So we are starting with our next UNESCO Chair Lecture. It's going to be, again, a hybrid lecture. So we have several people here in the room, but also many people joining us online from all parts of the world for today's lecture. And it is a great honor and privilege for me to welcome our next speaker in our UNESCO Chair Lecture Series. We're welcoming today on campus here Professor Hiroki Fujii from Okayama University in Japan. Professor Fujii is the director of the Okayama University ESD Promotion Center and also representing the UNESCO Chair in Research and Education for Sustainable Development. So a chair that we have been collaborating with for a very long time, that is working in the same area as we do, and we're very glad to have had such a long and trustful and good collaboration with our colleagues from Okayama. The title of the talk today will be a Pan-Asian Initiative in Teacher Education for Sustainable Development. And Professor Fujii is going to share about some of the experiences in the region in bringing together research, curriculum development, teacher training to advance sustainability in the broader Asian region, I would say. Without further ado, I would like to hand over to Professor Fujii to deliver his talk. Please, as always, feel free to leave any questions in the chat. We will have some time for questions and answers after his talk. So please do note any questions you might have to Professor Fujii in the chat, and we will come back to them later. Over to you. The floor is yours. Thank you again for joining us.
So, thank you very much for the Daniel. So it's a great pleasure for me to be here. So thank you very much for the great opportunity to deliver my lecture. So then I am Hiroki Fujii, so from Okayama University in Japan. So I'm the director of the ESD Promotion Center for the Okayama University and UNESCO Chair for Research and Education for Sustainable Development. So we have with Daniel and his team, so we have then we have some ongoing projects. So like ESD Action Research organized by the UNESCO Paris Head Office. So then it focuses on the practice-based and the ESD promotion in the school levels. And also that we are just has a launch. It's a low project in the focusing on the whole school approach in ESD in the school. So how to progress the all of the factors or all of the activities in the school. So how to promote. So then we are focusing on the school principals. So the training of the school principal. So in this time, so it's, I would like to introduce the three things of my lectures. So first is ESD and Education for Sustainable Development in Japan. And the second one is ESD Teacher Education in Japan. And the last is Pan-Asian Initiative focusing on the teacher education for ESD. So first of all, so then I'd like to introduce the Japan's ESD. So according to the policy of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports and Science and Technology, we call it mixed. So mixed, ESD is learning and education activities that aim to bring about the transformation in learners' values and the behavior that lead to the solution of the problems by taking a proactive approach to contemporary social issues as their own problems and working to ensure that the future generation can enjoy prosperous life and starting from their immediate surrounding. And keyword in the think global and act locally, thereby realizing the sustainable society. And Japanese mixed in the Ministry of Education, that particularly its internal UNESCO National Commission for Japan has proposed the competencies that the students should bring up in ESD, such as critical thinking, ability to anticipate the future and make plans, so ability to think multifacetedly and comprehensively the communication skill and the ability to collaborate with others, the attitude to respect the relationships, and the willingness to participate. These are based on the key competencies of sustainability identified by UNESCO. Okay. So, So then critical thinking refers to the ability of the objectively analyze information and arguments and evaluate them logically. And systems thinking refers to the ability to understand the big picture by viewing the elements of the even as a part and interconnected system. So another important one is anticipatory competencies, also known as future thinking. This is a competency to predict future events and situation and make decisions and take action in the present based on those predictions. In ESD and climate change education, I mentioned later, so it's important to understand the past and the present and create a desirable future so that the future thinking is considered one of the most important competency on ESD. The next basic concept to the ESD is to place the integrated development of the environment, economy, and the society at its core. Examples of the ESD areas include environment, energy, climate change, cultural diversity, world heritage, and cultural property in the region, and the international understanding, and so on. Just as the climate change is closely linked to the sustainable consumption and production, their areas are interconnected. Looking at the education for the SDGs in Japanese school, so Asia Pacific Cultural Center for UNESCO at Tokyo has conducted the annual survey of the UNESCO Associate School in Japan. We have the total 970 UNESCO associate school in Japan. So according to the survey result, 61.3% of the school were working on the SDGs 11, so sustainable cities and communities. Japanese primary school and secondary school, junior high school, promoting the community-based education, commonly referred to as hometown learning, and this is thought to have influenced the result. Regarding the SDGs 60, peace, justice, and strong institutions, the SDGs 12, responsible consumption and production, and SDGs 3, good health and well-being. These SDGs from the part of the national curricula for subjects such as home economics and health education, as well as moral education. And a relatively large number of the schools reported that they are addressing them. But in terms of the SDGs 13, climate action, so 18.4% of the schools are working on. The number of the UNESCO associated schools currently stand at 970 schools I mentioned earlier. So considering the response rate, the 18.4% is equivalent to about 83 schools. The number of such schools is by no means large. So then I'd like to just shortly introduce some example of the school practices in science in elementary school. The unit Human and Nature in 6th grade on the elementary school. It's a final grade of the elementary school. So then the pupils and the students figure out how to interact with the hard plan as an optional solution from the various perspectives, including the effect of the native plan and profit of the fisherman and the succession of the traditional food prime rice culture. So the hard plum is one of the immigrate the animals and seashells from the North America. So that it's one of the new issues for our society. So then this hard plum is one of the very nice topic. It includes the three aspects of the natural environment and society and economics. So that our elementary school teacher introduced this topic in the final learning unit of the elementary school science in grade 6. So then, as a second part of my lecture, so then in Japan, so we are talking about I'm talking about teacher education for ESD in Japan. In Japan, the Associated School Project University Network, we call it ASP UniVnet, was established in the 2008. Currently, the number of the university comprises 24 universities nationwide, with each university the supporting school within their respective region. The main focus of the support are assisting the schools in the membership application process to the UNESCO Associate School and providing the school with the university the lecture the resources through the workshop and the model project, and encouraging the cooperation with the adult and the community education institutions and NGOs and the NPOs and other organizations. And lastly is linking together UNESCO Associate Schools in the domestic and urban. So every year from the November to December, the UNESCO Associate Schools national conference is held, where the school from across the country showcase and share the good ESD practices. This conference involves not only the teachers, but also the students. The ASP UniVnet also assists the school with their participation in this conference and planning its program. However, this was pointed out then 10 years ago, but the Japanese National Commission for UNESCO has raised several challenges. First, so although it's a hope that the prospective teacher will deepen their understanding of ESD, but university administrate the prospective teacher training program in ESD are limited. And second is there is a lack of the cooperation ESD between the university and the schools. And lastly, the school require the university to deliver the substantial support, especially the development of the curriculum, incorporating the ESD and the evaluation tools based on the ESD educational theories and the practice. And also researchers mentioned that there are several difficulties in integrating the ESD into teacher education. The first, no common recommendation for university to follow, since the university are autonomous. And second, teacher education studies consist of the mainly mandatory attendant courses. The practical issue of fitting in courses from other degree with the teacher education schedule is also problematic. And the third, and the ESD often depends on the teachers, educators' own interest, and is therefore frequently uneven. Last, typically there were only a limited number of the compulsory courses on ESD and marginally more electives. So looking back on myself and my institutions, I think these points are quite true. how do we incorporate the ESD into the teacher education strategies, programs, and courses? Previous studies emphasize that the whole institution approach is the key to promoting ESD. For example, UNESCO mentioned the 7 factors of this approach, that is curricular, campus operation, and organizational culture, and the student participation, the leadership and management, the community relationships, and research on ESD. In addition, the Ferreira of the Australia mentioned the 6 factors as shown here. So like funding and management, partnership and network, the program focus on teaching learning processes, the participant engagement, and the evaluation as a tool for learning and ongoing improvement, and the context in which the initiative occurs. However, so ESD research on the whole institution approach is closely related to organizational culture of the institution, leadership and management of the student and the faculty staff, and so on. Therefore, our university places so educational strategies, program, and courses at the center, and places the ESD research on this basis. Higher education institutions have 2 pillars, education and research. So I believe this approach is both sound and readily applicable. Under the whole school approach, the Faculty of Education of Okayama University has established undergraduate, master's, and a doctoral program for ESD learning. At the undergraduate level, a compulsory course has launched for all students. So learning for sustainability as a course name is a learning for sustainability for first and second semesters for the first year, and creating the learning for the sustainability for first semester of the third year just before the school practices. And these are 2 courses and compulsories for all the undergraduate students. And also our faculty has launched ESD and SDGs sub-program focused on the learning ESD, global citizenship education, and education for the SDGs. In terms of the master education program, we also have launched a compulsory course named Interdisciplinary Learning Design, focusing on ESD. And also that we launched a doctoral program, so 4 years ago. So then it focuses on the ESD and global citizenship education and education for SDGs. So then this is a new style system of the training researchers in ESD and GCED, global citizenship education in Japan. So then we try to have the joint supervision of the doctoral thesis, and we want to open the credit transfer for the first subject. So then we expect to enhance the researchers' academic ability on the ESD and the global citizenship education. Of course, that ESD and GCED is both pillar to the education for the SDGs. So as one example, so I shall introduce the undergraduate course I teach. So this slide shows the contents of each week of the compulsory course, the second science teaching method advanced. So I have incorporated the climate change related learning content into second half of the course and called the new CCE Climate Change Education Teacher Education Program. So then we have to teach a lot of the learning content to the prospective science teachers. Their schedule is very, very tight. So then in this time, I want try to incorporate some of the CCE and climate change education related content to the existing the compulsory course. So in the first part is the existing the learning content, and the second part from the 9th week, I give a lecture on the key points of the IPCC assessment report, climate change 2020 past, the physical science basis, and recent global ESD initiatives like the UNESCO's greening education partnerships and key competency for sustainability I mentioned earlier, and classroom example of the biodiesel as the renewable energy resources in high school chemistry, and also northward migration of the animals, particularly insects, due to the global warming. And in the 10th and 11th week, I help students conduct chemistry experiment of biodiesel synthesis and biology experiment on the relationships between the mosquitoes and the temperature, and teach how to design the school lessons for such learning contents. From 12th to the 15th week, as a one-day activity, I conducted a study tour to observe the sites of the biomass town in the mountain area of Okayama. In the town, the bioenergy based on the woody biomass is developed and utilized very much. Through this study tour, prospective science teachers had the great opportunity to gain the better understanding of the reality of the society and think about how to create the science lessons on climate change education when they become the teacher in near future. Skip this part. So the last part of my talk is Pan Asian initiative on the ESD and climate change education. So one of the major achievements our ESD teacher education among Asian countries is development of the Asia Pacific ESD competency framework at the examination guide. There are great significance for what has been achieved in the Asia Pacific region with remarkable diversity of the nature, society, and culture, and so on. We collect teacher education programs from the participating teacher training institutions and analyze which competency their programs aim to develop in prospective teachers. For example, my faculty of education lists 4 competencies. So first, in the instruction, teachers create understandable, doable lesson for the student and reflect over their lessons. And student guidance is one of the competency. So teachers understand student and make effort to support their daily life and the personal relations. And also the management. So it means the teachers identify and realize their own and their school potential. And coordination, it means the teachers understand and coordinate with those overseeing the student development. So then we collect these teachers' competencies, so which the participating the institution that set out. And also we analyze previous studies of the ESD teacher competencies. For example, a dynamic model of the ESD competencies teacher education by Sloas in 2008, and also the competency for ESD in teacher education model by Lauf in Austria in the 2008. As a result, our framework is that the center of the framework is a position with a competency for shape future. This is a competency for teachers to practice ESD here and now towards shaping sustainable futures. And there are three competency domains that support this center competency. So first is the domain of the facilitated learning involves competencies for teachers to create and provide learning opportunities for learners to develop their sustainability capacity. And second is the domain of the continue to learn create involves competency for teachers to reflect, innovate, and transform the knowledge continuously as a professional in ESD practices. And lastly, domain is connect, collaborate, and engage involves the competencies for teachers to promote collaboration and partnerships to support the ESD policies and practices within and outside the immediate communities, including the local and national authorities. Now the member institution in Asia Pacific use this framework to develop, implement, and evaluate ESD teacher education strategies, programs, and courses. So as a next step, we reached the stage where our teacher education program framework for climate change education can be developed based on this framework. We are progressively transitioning toward the research and practice in the teacher education on climate change education. We have launched the Asian Teacher Educators for Climate Change Education Network. We call it ATECHE. So then 4 years ago, and had embarked the project to create the Asian framework for the teacher education for climate action. This international joint project with mutual exchange of the ESD and climate change education expertise involved the 24 teacher education institutions from 13 Asian countries: China, India, Indonesia, Japan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz, Laos, Malaysia, Mongolia, the Philippines, and the Republic, and Korea, and Thailand, and Uzbekistan. And the project is a collaboration with the UNESCO regional offices like Bangkok, Beijing, and Almaty, and supported by the Japan Society for Promotion of Science. Over the past 4 years, leading teacher education institutions in Asia have exercised a variety of the initiatives in building the teachers' capacity to address the climate change education. This network project embodies the UNESCO initiative known as Greening Education Partnerships. So the Greening Education Partnership sets out 4 greening initiatives. In greening capacity and readiness, the vision is to support teacher and policy maker through the integration of the climate change in pre-service and in-service teacher training, building the capacity of the school leaders and the key education stakeholders. And the goal is that all school leaders and at least one teacher per school will have been trained on how to integrate climate change education into teaching and learning throughout the school. In our network, the project members from the participating countries are widely implementing the climate change education in teacher education and school education. For example, in Indonesia, a collaboration between the Indonesian University of Education and the Surabaya State of Education in Java Island has led to the development of the series of the impact of the programs focused on the climate change education. These initiatives, including the preparing the teachers to teach climate change and exploring the teaching strategies to including the student awareness and action on climate change. A notable aspect of this effort is a school-to-school competition named the 40 Days Challenge for Sustainability, which specifically engaged 37 junior high schools and 16 senior high schools, 657 students, and 48 teachers from the 37 districts across the 11 provinces in Indonesia. This competition successfully fostered sustainability practices and climate action awareness among schools. So additionally, the initiative extends its reach to the public, inviting the membership from all individuals and collaboration with other organizations and companies, supported by the dedicated website and social media presence at the presence. So then I'd like to introduce our activity, the activity of the member in Mongolia. So then Mongolia is one of the countries vulnerable to the impact of the climate change, and desertification and its countermeasure are one of the topics of the climate change education. These photos are taken 100 kilometers west of the capital Ulaanbaatar, at the front line of the desertification. The primary causes of the desertification are, of course, the reduced rainfall and shorter rainy seasons. However, interestingly, so it's not only these environmental changes, but also other factors that are compounding the problems. Nomado, the primary rear the sheep, cows, and the goat, but goat number have increased recently. This is because Kashmir, so the Kashmir, the wool from the goats commanded the high price in trade. So then this the center of the photo is this plant. The known Kanagana is it is one of the last to thrive as the desert advances. Yet goat consume even its grass roots and the flowers of these plants. And so even the plants that persisted until the berry and eventually the disappearance. In other words, the cause of the desertification is not only due to the changes of the natural environment, but also the link to the economic activities and the human endeavors driven by the desire for Kashmir. Based on our rich experiences of the developing the teacher education programs for climate change education, our network members identify the successful factors and create Asian framework for teacher education for climate action. The framework that consists of the 3 domains. So first domain, integrate the climate curricula and the teacher empowerment, stress the alignment of the educational policy with the global climate initiatives. It advocates for the integrated climate change education into teacher training programs, enhancing the curriculum design, and establishing the rigorous teacher certification standard. And the second domain, so engage and innovate climate pedagogy. It calls for the transformation in teaching method and materials using the climate change education. It emphasizes the active learner engagement through innovative pedagogical method and blending the global and local climate issues to make the learning relevant and engaging. So last third domain is a holistic assessment of the climate action. So it involves a comprehensive evaluation of the effectiveness of the climate change education with teacher training programs. It underscores the importance of the equipping educators with both knowledge and the skills to guide students toward a meaningful climate action. So currently, this project is in its second phase. The effort developing of an Pan-Asian collaborative online course for teacher education climate action. So then we want to disseminate the model of the good example of the climate lesson in school, so that we use the online. So then our participating member of the network, we are collaboratively create the one online course for 2 credits. And second one, so then we want to conducting the teacher training on the climate change education continuously. So then from this last May, so then we are just started to the not big the workshop, but a small workshop for school teachers to learn the climate education lessons in schools. And through these online course and workshop, so we would like to implement and disseminate the school and teacher education practices and climate change education among the Asian countries. And another ESD project is the Japan Society for Promotion of Science Core to Core program. So formation of the Center of Excellence to promote teacher education for ESD towards achieving the SDGs. Through the collaboration with ESD hub universities such as, of course, the Leuphana University and Inland Norway University and University Leuphana and York University in Canada. So we have created a global network to produce the recommendation for innovating teacher education sustainable development in May this year. So then it focuses on the update of the teacher education for ESD in all of the field of this area. And we have disseminated and shared the latest research and practical achievement worldwide. Through this research program, we aim to update the teacher education sustainable development toward the achievement of the SDGs by 2030. Okay, so that's all. So then, thank you very much for listening.